Over the last 48 hours, a video telling Iranians to stop talking about the Islamic Republic and its proxies, Hamas and Hezbollah, has gone viral and has resulted in thousands and thousands and thousands of shares and comments doxing Iranians, doxing our families who live in Iran, to have them executed by the Islamic Republic, having our personal names, information, addresses, places of work shared to have us harmed, and having an officer of the court threatened with such harm. Please understand that we are working with the Department of Justice and the FBI to bring every single one of these people to account. There were also other Iranians who contributed to this campaign, just like in the 1979 revolution, which brought the Islamic Republic of Iran to Iran, a radicalized, brainwashed cult of people who did not know what they were fighting for, threw their friends and family under the bus, fed them to the wolves, only to regret it later when they found out that they in fact were the ones who were uninformed and ignorant. Those Iranians spent 5 minutes saying #Women Life Freedom before retiring and going back to their lives, while the rest of us hunkered down and gave up our lives to learn the truth. And now you are going to learn the truth too. Before any of these Middle Eastern countries were formed, there was a caliphate which spanned across the entire region, making it just under one rule. The last rule was the Ottoman rule, the Ottoman Caliphate, which ended in 1917. All of these countries were created after that for the first time, including Syria, Lebanon, Israel, Jordan, Saudi, Iraq. They were all under mandates, Western mandates, British mandates, French mandates. The French mandate also created Lebanon and Syria. Are Lebanon and Syria also white supremacist states because they were created by Western powers? How about Iraq? One by one, every single country traded maximalism for sovereignty. What does that mean? It means that every single one of them wanted more land, more within their borders. Initially, Syria wanted all of Lebanon, but eventually traded the maximalism of the entire land for what? Sovereignty. The three S's: safety, security, and sovereignty. The only place where this conflict lives on is in Israel and Palestine. Why? In 1937, under the Peel Commission, the first offer was made to, at that time, 30% of Jews in Palestine to have 20% of the land. Israel wanted more, but it agreed to trade maximalism for sovereignty. That offer was rejected by the other side. Why? Now it's time to back up and learn about the Muslim Brotherhood. The Muslim Brotherhood formed after the collapse of the last caliphate. What was their goal? To re-establish the caliphate. Their goal is pan-Islamism. What has come out of the Muslim Brotherhood? ISIS, Al-Qaeda, the Taliban, Hamas. Pan-Islamism is a form of fundamentalism. It is a form of imperialism. The goal is to destroy every single one of these countries' governments, okay? Saudi, Egypt, Syria, Lebanon, Iraq, Kuwait, Bahrain, Jordan, one by one, to create one pan-Islamist state to return to the caliphate. Every single one of these countries has had to work tirelessly to fend off this radicalism, to take them down. And these are also Muslim countries, Islamics fighting against Islamism, which is imperialism, which has killed more Muslims than anybody else. So if you support fundamentalism, Islamist fundamentalism, you are the Islamophobe because you are against Muslims. The Muslim Brotherhood continued its ideology of rejectionism in Palestine as every country was establishing sovereignty. Every two-state solution that was brought before them, they said no. There were indeed other Palestinian organizations and governments that desperately tried to create a resolution, including the PLO, whether you like them or not. So why weren't they successful? After 1979, when the Ayatollah Khomeini came to power, that inspired the fundamentalists in the region, including Muslim Brotherhood, including ISIS, including Al-Qaeda, including the Taliban, to see that, hey, maybe fundamentalism, radicalism can work here. My Saudi friends tell me how under the Sahwa movement, Saudi also had to fight off these fundamentalists who killed hundreds in order to spread this radicalist, imperialist, fundamentalist ideology. The Islamic Republic also inspired the Muslim Brotherhood, who later rebranded as Hamas. Harakat al-Muqawama al-Islamiyah, Hamas, Hamas. They have existed before Israel even existed as a state. Their goal is pan-Islamism. Hamas leaders continue to say to this day that they will not stop, that they are martyrs, and they will not ever concede 1 inch of this land to Israel. And they will not renounce violence. Hamas committed a coup in 2007 to remove or kill Palestinians who were in favor of a two-state solution. So now you know that the rape, murder, dismemberment of children that you were celebrating as an act of resistance was in fact an act of imperialism. And who funds and supports Hamas using the Iranian people's stolen money while our children starve and shiver in the streets because they have to sleep in tents? The Islamic Republic, to further its goal of creating this pan-Islamist region so that it gets to become the mothership, the all-powerful. And you all stood behind that fundamentalist, radicalist, imperialist goal as the anti-imperialists that you are. So what happens if Hamas wins? They turn the entire land into an Islamist state. Then they go after every government in the region in order to do the same. They already attempted this goal in helping the Brotherhood in Egypt take down the Egyptian government when many Egyptians were killed. The goal is never freedom. The goal is never peace. The peace option was presented many times. The goal is maximalism. The goal is imperialism at the cost of human life. Iranians are no strangers to these mass terror campaigns to try to silence us for speaking the truth. Our families in 1979 and beyond were the minority of brave, courageous, freedom fighters, truth tellers. In Iran today, you still see these heroes and leaders being on death row, living under the threat of execution, of being hanged from cranes for telling the truth. And yes, they did kill our families. Yes, they are still lynching our brave truth tellers, only to learn what you will learn now, which is that you can kill our truth tellers, but you cannot kill truth. To everybody who is trying to reenact those Islamic Republic silencing tactics against Iranians here today now, just know this is not the Islamic Republic, and you will never, ever silence Iranians.